Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into something, well, pretty radical. What if the extraordinary, what we often call supernatural, isn't some far off magic, but actually maybe your most natural state?
That's exactly the territory we're exploring. This deep dive, it really unpacks a revolutionary way of looking at human potential, drawing from sources like becoming supernatural. And our mission, really, is to uncover how you can move past limits, how you can start creating a new body, a new mind, a whole new life.
Just using what's already inside us.
Precisely, tapping into capabilities that are just sort of latent, waiting to be switched on.
Okay, so let's nail down this word supernatural. When we use it here, we're not talking capes and levitation, right?
Not at all, no. Forget the Hollywood stuff. Think of supernatural here as activating the biological genius you already have. It's your inherent anatomy, your chemistry, your physiology.
Stuff that's just been dormant.
Exactly. Waiting for the right signal to come online. It's less about becoming something totally different and more about remembering, maybe, and unleashing who you truly are, realizing this limitless potential that's kind of always been there.
What I found really interesting is the author's approach. You'd think they'd spend ages trying to convince the doubters, the really rigid scientific types.
Yeah, but that's not the focus, is it?
No.
And that was a conscious shift. They realized, trying to convince someone who only trusts their physical senses or really rigid scientist, it often just doesn't work. It's like hitting a wall.
So who is this aimed at then?
It's focused on simplifying really complex science for people who are already thinking, okay, maybe there's more. People who believe in possibility, who are open, who actually want to listen.
Making these big ideas practical for everyday life.
That's the core of it, showing that what seems supernatural is, well, actually just natural design we haven't fully accessed yet.
Right. And to illustrate this, there's this ancient story, the Yogi Milarepa. The legend says he pressed his hand into solid rock. How does that fit in?
Ah, Milarepa. It's such a powerful analogy. It's not really about brute force, pushing through rock.
It's about belief.
It's about belief and perception. His teacher apparently said he became part of the rock, not separate from it. He transcended the idea of separation.
So the rock wasn't a barrier because he didn't see it as one.
Exactly. It shows that our real limitations, often they aren't physical things out there. They're the walls we build in our own minds, our own beliefs about what's possible. When you drop that sense of separation, maybe the impossible isn't.
Okay, that's a huge idea. Our internal world shapes the external. So if we want to transcend these limits, where do we even start? The sources talk a lot about mastering the present moment, the eternal now. Why is that so fundamental?
It's presented as the absolute cornerstone. Mastering the present is the key to healing, to creating new stuff in your life, to having those transcendent experiences.
What does that actually mean, though, mastering the present?
It means consciously getting beyond your physical body, your identity, who you think you are, your surroundings, even getting beyond linear time. Because all potentials, all possibilities, they exist in the quantum field, right?
Yeah.
And that field is the eternal present.
So to change things, we have to step out of our usual selves.
You have to step out of the familiar, predictable you and into that field of pure potential. That's where creation happens.
But it sounds like most of us are stuck in what the sources call the trap of the known. What is that exactly?
Oh, subtle, but yeah, it's a trap. Most people, quite unconsciously, just repeat the same routines, think the same thoughts, revisit the same memories, feel the same feelings, day in, day out.
Groundhog Day.
Pretty much. And this repetition, it programs your brain and body for a predictable future based on your familiar past. You're almost never truly here in the present. You're on autopilot.
And that becomes habit.
Exactly. Habit is defined as this, redundant set of automatic unconscious thoughts, behaviors, emotions. And eventually, your body becomes the mind of the past. It's literally running the show based on old programming.
Okay, that leads to this other really key principle. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Can you unpack that a bit? How does that keep us stuck, or how can it free us?
It's fundamental.
Yeah.
Your attention is your power. If you constantly put your attention on old memories, familiar feelings, regrets, whatever, you're literally draining your energy into the past.
Taking it away from now.
Exactly. And similarly, if your attention is always locked onto your future schedule, worries, things you know are coming, you're sending your energy into a predictable future.
So there's no energy left for anything new.
Very little. There's hardly any energy left to create an unknown experience, to step onto a new timeline or potential. All your power is just reinforcing the same old patterns.
But There's a way to use this, right? To use our minds to sort of pre-live the future we want. And there's actual science behind this. Tell us about that Harvard piano study.
Ah, yes, that was fascinating. So Harvard researchers got volunteers who'd never played piano. One group physically practiced a simple exercise every day. Another group just imagined playing it. Same exercise, same duration, but purely mental.
No touching the keys.
Nope. And the brain scans before and after were incredible. Both groups showed a dramatic number of new neural circuits firing, as if they'd physically practiced. The mental group built the brain connections just through imagination.
Wow. So the brain genuinely doesn't know the difference between doing something and vividly imagining it. That's huge. What does that mean for someone feeling stuck?
It's incredibly profound. Your brain and body respond to your mental imagery just like they respond to external reality. There were similar studies, like at the Cleveland Clinic. People increased bicep strength by, was it 13.5%?
Just by thinking about flexing.
Just by mentally rehearsing, flexing for weeks. So what this means for you listening right now is potentially life-changing. If you mentally rehearse the future, you want not just thinking about it, but really feeling it, engaging all your senses, your brain and body start to change now.
They look like the future has already happened.
Exactly. You're biologically priming yourself for that reality. You're creating the internal state first, which then influences the external manifestation. You start being that future person now.
Okay, this connects directly to emotions, doesn't it? We tend to think of them as just feelings. But the sources say they're much more physical, more chemical.
They absolutely are. Emotions are described as the chemical end products, the feedback from past experiences. And the stronger the emotion tied to an event, good or bad, the stronger the chemical signature released in your body.
And that creates memories.
It forms deep, long-term memories. Your body literally gets conditioned to these emotional states. It gets used to feeling a certain way. So if you live in fear or anger constantly, your body chemically becomes that state. It expects it.
And if we're stuck in stress, in that survival mode state, what's the impact then?
Well, living in survival mode means your body is constantly mobilizing huge amounts of energy. It's flooding itself with stress hormones like cortisol.
Fight or flight.
Right, but chronically activated. This actually narrows your focus, diverts energy from growth and repair, and over time, it can lead to a really disordered, incoherent brain.
Incoherent, like
Yeah.
not working properly.
Yeah, think of it like bad radio static, or drummers all playing different beats. The different parts of the brain aren't communicating effectively. They can't generate a coherent signal. And this state constantly tells your genes you're in danger, prioritizing short-term survival over long-term thriving and health.
There's a really stark example of this in the sources, the story of Anna. It really drives home how deeply our emotions can affect our physical health.
Anna's story's, well, it's intense, but incredibly illustrative. After her husband's suicide, she was just consumed by negative emotions. Grief, pain, anger, guilt. Her mind just kept replaying the trauma.
Reliving it constantly.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Analyzing it, talking about it, feeling it. And each time, she was firing the same circuits in her brain, producing the same chemistry, conditioning her body deeper and deeper into that past trauma.
And the physical results were devastating.
Within 2 years, she developed paralysis from neuritis, severe skin ulcerations from erosive lichen planus, clinical depression, and then esophageal cancer. Her whole personality, her whole biology became defined by that past suffering until she had this huge realization.
What was that?
She realized, wait, if I created this life I have now, maybe I can uncreate it with the same passion. That was her turning point, realizing her state wasn't just happening to her.
And what does that realization that she could potentially uncreate her illness tell us about our own biology? Is it really that flexible?
It points directly to the science of epigenetics, which is truly revolutionary. It tells us quite clearly, you are not just a victim of your genes.
We're not hardwired.
Not in the way we used to think. Gene expression, which genes are turned on or off, is highly changeable. It responds to your thoughts, your actions, and especially your feelings.
Is there solid proof of this?
Yes. There's a compelling workshop study mentioned. Participants practiced cultivating elevated emotions, consciously feeling things like love, joy, gratitude, inspiration for just 9 or 10 minutes, 3 times a day for 4 days.
And what happened?
They measured immunoglobulin A, or IgA, which is a key protein for immune defense. On average, the group showed a 49.5% increase in IgA.
Almost 50% stronger immune response in just 4 days.
Just from changing their emotional state, it means their bodies literally started to believe they were in a new, safer, more loving environment. And that belief signaled new healthy genes to switch on. It's concrete proof of our power to upregulate our own immune system from the inside out. No pills, no external stuff, just changing how you feel. Hashtag tag IV.
Okay, so if emotions are this powerful energy, and we can literally change our gene expression, how do we consciously access and direct that energy for, healing or creation? There's a specific breathing technique mentioned,
Yes, this breathing technique is designed specifically to liberate energy that tends to get stuck or stored in the lower three energy centers of the body,
which are associated with.
typically with survival emotions and drives.
Yeah.
Things like fear, guilt, shame, control, power struggles, aggression, basic needs, procreation. A lot of our unconscious programming resides there.
So the breath frees that energy.
That's the idea. When this stored energy is liberated, it becomes available fuel for higher purposes like deep healing, creating something new, or having those mystical transcendent experiences.
How does it work physiologically?
Well, you engage in these slow, deep breaths through the nose, and at the same time, you contract your core muscles, the perineum, lower abdomen, upper abdomen. This sequence creates internal pressure.
Pushing something up the spine.
Exactly. It forces cerebrospinal fluid, the CSF, up the spinal column.
And the CSF itself has a role. It's not just fluid being pushed.
Right. Think of CSF as more than just liquid. It contains charged molecules, proteins, and salts. As it accelerates up the spine due to the breath and muscle contractions, it actually creates an electromagnetic field, what's called an inductance field.
Like generating a current.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
It creates an energetic pull, like a vacuum. This pulls that latent energy from the lower centers, where all that survival stuff is stored, and efficiently draws it upwards, spiraling it right up towards the brain.
So it's lifting your energy out of those basic survival patterns.
Precisely. It's transforming that survival energy into fuel for higher consciousness, moving your awareness out of the body's programmed state and up into the brain.
Okay, so what happens when this wave of liberated energy actually reaches the brain?
When that surge hits the brainstem, it's described as opening the thalamic gate. Think of it like floodgates opening, allowing this powerful energy to enter the brain proper.
And that triggers something specific.
Yes, it rapidly leads to the production of gamma brainwaves.
Gamma waves. What are those exactly?
Gamma waves were often linked to states of superconsciousness or heightened awareness. They're the highest frequency brainwaves we typically measure. And crucially, they seem to be generated from within the body, from this internal energy surge, signaling a profound shift of attention away from the external world and deep into your inner landscape.
And this process directly involves the pineal gland, the famous third eye.
Exactly. The pineal gland is this tiny pine cone-shaped gland located deep in the brain, right between the thalami. It acts almost like an antenna.
Sensitive to this energy.
Highly sensitive to electromagnetic frequencies, yes. When this internal energy activates it, the pineal gland releases powerful biochemicals described as elixirs.
Elixirs, like what?
These are metabolites of melatonin, things like pinolines. And these compounds seem to have fascinating effects. They can actually quiet down the analytical, thinking mind, the part that's always judging and doubting.
Sort of anesthetizing the critic.
In a way, yeah, which allows higher awareness to awaken. It primes the brain for mystical experiences, maybe even experiences that feel interdimensional.
That's incredible. And there's that connection to ancient symbolism.
It's really striking. If you look at diagrams of the brain's limbic system, especially the location of the pineal gland, and compare to the ancient Egyptian Eye of Horus symbol, the resemblance is uncanny. It strongly suggests that ancient cultures had a deep, intuitive, or maybe even direct understanding of these internal energy dynamics and the pineal gland's role.
Okay, from the pineal gland and brain coherence, the discussion naturally moves to the heart, which the sources say is like a brain itself. What exactly does that mean? It's more than just a pump, right?
Oh, much, much more. We've traditionally thought of the heart as just this mechanical pump, but the research shows it's a highly sophisticated sensory organ.
Sensory. How so?
It influences our feelings, it seems to guide decision-making in ways we don't fully understand, and it even seems to connect us to some form of higher guidance or intuition. Scientifically, it has its own complex nervous system, the intrinsic cardiac nervous system.
A literal heart brain.
Yeah, with something like 40,000 neurons. It can learn, remember, feel, and sense independently of the cranial brain. And the communication pathway between the heart and the brain is massive, more nerve connections than between almost any other two systems in the body. It's a constant dialogue.
So if the brain can achieve coherence, this synchronized state, can the heart do that too? And how does this tie into those elevated emotions you mentioned earlier?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The heart is seen as this crucial bridge. It connects the lower energy centers, focused on survival, with the upper centers, linked to our higher self, our spiritual potential. It's where duality can potentially merge into oneness.
Then elevated emotions trigger this.
That's the key. When you genuinely, consciously cultivate feelings like gratitude, joy, inspiration, kindness, appreciation, compassion, your heart responds physically. It starts beating in a very rhythmic, orderly, balanced pattern.
That's heart coherence.
That's heart coherence. And it's not just a feeling. It creates a measurable electromagnetic field around your body centered on the heart. This field is incredibly powerful, much stronger than the brain's field.
And this field carries information.
Exactly, it's energy. And energy carries information. Specifically, it carries the information of your intention, amplified by the feeling.
So our feelings literally become the signal we're broadcasting.
Precisely. This is crucial for manifestation or creating change. To bring about a desired future, your energy, meaning your elevated feelings, must match your intention. You can't really create abundance from a feeling of lack or health from a feeling of fear, because the feeling is the energetic charge. It's what programs your autonomic nervous system. It's what sends the coherent signal out into the quantum field. If your thoughts say one thing, I want health, but your feelings say another, I feel sick and scared, the signal is incoherent, doesn't fully land. The feeling is what embodies the state of being of that future.
Makes sense. So what are the wider benefits of cultivating this heart coherence for us individually and maybe even beyond?
The benefits are really extensive. Things like lowered blood pressure, better nervous system balance, improved hormonal profiles, enhanced brain function, definitely heightened intuition,
And even gene expression, as we discussed.
and healthier gene expression, yes. When you learn to maintain these coherent heart states independent of what's happening around you, you build incredible emotional resilience.
Yeah.
You gain clarity. You stop falling back into those old stressful patterns so easily.
And this can ripple outwards.
That's the implication. These coherent, heart-centered states aren't just for you. The powerful magnetic field they generate can potentially create positive, measurable, non-local effects.
Meaning affecting others at a distance?
Possibly, yes. Affecting family, colleagues, maybe even communities. It's like expanding a field of harmony vibrationally. It's a profound idea.
We often hear television programming, but the sources really break down how advertising, for example, literally programs our subconscious, often in ways that aren't helpful. Can you walk us through that shingles commercial example they use?
Yeah, it's a really sharp analysis, kind of disturbing but illuminating. That commercial is designed very deliberately. It pairs strong images, someone clearly in pain, with specific emotions. Fear, vulnerability, a sense of inevitable decline.
Grabs your attention immediately.
Exactly. And that emotional hook, combined with the visuals, quickly shifts your brainwaves from the active beta state into alpha, a more receptive, suggestible state.
Like being hypnotized slightly.
Kind of, yeah. Your analytical filters drop, then the narrator drops the suggestions. The virus is already inside you, your immune system will weaken. It's a direct suggestion aimed at your autonomic nervous system.
And that can actually weaken your immunity.
The suggestion itself can influence the body's belief system, making it subconsciously accept the idea of vulnerability, making it feel it needs the external product. It's programming through fear and suggestion. Pretty sophisticated, really.
Wow. Okay, so if that's how we can be programmed negatively, how do we consciously reprogram ourselves for the better? How do we take back control?
Well, the sources introduce some really interesting tools used in workshops to actively undo old programming and install new beliefs. Things like using a kaleidoscope and creating personalized mind movies.
A kaleidoscope. How does that help?
It's quite ingenious. The constantly shifting geometric fractal patterns in a kaleidoscope. They don't represent anything familiar. You can't see your dog or your car or your problems in there.
It's non-associative.
Exactly. Which means it tends to bypass the analytical left brain, the part that's always trying to make sense of things based on the past. Instead, it activates the right brain, which is more connected to intuition, creativity, and openness to the unknown. It helps quiet the analytical mind.
Creates a space for something new. And mind movies. That sounds more personalized.
Very personalized and very powerful. A mind movie is basically a short visual and auditory presentation, like a moving vision board, depicting your desired future self and life. You choose images, words, music that represent the future you want to create.
And you watch this regularly.
Yeah, the idea is to repeatedly expose yourself to these images and suggestions. It helps neurologically map that future in your brain, making your internal vision feel more real, more familiar than your current external circumstances.
But it's not just passive watching, is it?
No, that's critical. It's
Ah.
not just seeing the images. You have to experience the scenes, feel the emotions, engage all your senses as if it's happening now, making a three-dimensional, multisensory internal event.
So you're changing your brain and body before the event happens.
Exactly. You're living that future reality internally first.
Yeah.
You're embodying it.
But then the really hard part must be taking that feeling out into the real world, right? When the meditation ends or the mind movie stops.
That is absolutely the crucial step. You can have amazing meditations, but if you stand up and immediately go back to being your old, stressed, complaining, fearful self, you've just left the energy behind.
You return to the past.
Energetically, yes. The real work is carrying that future energy, that feeling of wholeness or abundance or health with you into your daily life. When you're stuck in traffic, can you access that future feeling instead of frustration? When you're in the grocery queue, can you feel gratitude instead of impatience?
Embodying the future self in mundane moments.
That's where the transformation really takes root. You have to make your internal state, that future energy, more important, more real than the external environment. That's how you start to shift your reality.
This all seems to be building towards something bigger, doesn't it? This idea of a unified field and how our consciousness, maybe even collectively, can influence reality, potentially even at a distance, non-locally.
It definitely scales up. Quantum physics paints this picture of the universe, not as just empty space with bits of matter, but mostly as this invisible, immaterial energy field, a field of infinite possibility.
Our unified field.
Right. And there's this interesting distinction made between time-space and space-time. In our normal reality, our perception of time moving forward is created by moving through space.
Okay.
But the idea proposed is that if you can collapse time by truly being present, letting go of the linear past-future focus, you actually open up access to other dimensions, other potentials that exist outside of our normal space-time.
How do you access that?
By achieving that state of being nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, and no time. Pure awareness. Getting beyond your identity in the material world, this raises your energetic frequency, moving you from separation towards oneness, wholeness, love.
And the observer effect comes in here.
Yes. The quantum field is pure potential until an observer interacts with it. Your focused awareness, your intention, combined with that elevated emotion we talked about, is what collapses potential into actual manifestation. You choose a reality from the field.
That's mind-bending stuff. But the claim goes further that collective consciousness can have measurable effects. Are there actual examples of this?
There's some really compelling studies and observations mentioned. For instance, these historical peace-gathering projects. One cited by the RAND Corporation suggested a correlation between large groups meditating on peace and a significant temporary drop in global terrorism, something like 72%.
Wow, really?
It's a statistical correlation, of course, but significant. Another involved 7,000 meditators in India focusing on peace, coinciding with the end of the Cold War period, and a noticeable reduction in conflict.
And the 9/11 example.
That was from Princeton's Global Consciousness Project. They have these random event generators, REGs, around the world. Normally, they output random data. But during globally significant events, especially ones with huge collective emotional outpourings like 9/11, the REGs showed dramatic spikes in coherence. Their output became significantly less random, correlating with the timing of the event and the global response.
Suggesting a connection.
It strongly suggests that massive shifts in collective human consciousness can somehow influence physical systems, non-locally. It's profound evidence for interconnectedness.
It almost sounds like the Earth itself is responsive.
Well, consider the Schumann resonance, the Earth's natural electromagnetic frequency, around 7.83 hertz. It's known to influence mammalian brains, including ours. Our brains entrained to it. It suggests an innate biological connection between us and the planet's field.
So individual coherence can build into collective coherence.
Exactly. It's this concept of emergence. It's not top-down. It's bottom-up. When enough individuals cultivate inner coherence, acting like one mind, they can generate a powerful, unified field. They measure this in workshops. The collective energy in the room measurably increases.
And this could affect people not even in the room?
That's the implication of non-locality. Your elevated, coherent, heart-centered energy field might positively influence others, You're connected to family, friends, colleagues, helping bring balance and coherence to their systems too. When you change yourself, you inevitably influence your world.
So the ultimate message here is about making minds matter, taking conscious control individually and together.
That's a great way to put it. By consciously directing our energy, our thoughts, our feelings, our intentions, we have the potential to collectively create a different future one based on peace, cooperation, prosperity, moving beyond just reacting to chaos and fear.
And actively creating from love, gratitude, unity.
Exactly. Raising our collective energy, opening our hearts, generating these powerful electromagnetic signatures that can literally entrain others and demonstrate our fundamental interconnectedness through this invisible field of light and information. Our collective intention can genuinely shape our shared reality.
Okay, theory is one thing, but these concepts really come alive with the stories of people who've actually applied this stuff and had incredible results. Let's touch on some of those. Ginny, for instance.
Ginny's story is a powerful example of healing by connecting to that unified field. She had debilitating chronic back pain, paralysis, severe depression after an accident. Years of medical treatments didn't help.
What changed?
During a deep meditation, she finally managed to truly get beyond her body, her identity, her environment, her sense of time. She connected with the unified field, felt no separation, just being part of the whole.
Total surrender.
Total surrender of her limited self. And in that state of connection to wholeness, her body's innate intelligence, the autonomic nervous system, seemed to just take over and orchestrate the healing. She experienced a complete recovery.
Amazing. And then there's Daniel with the extreme electromagnetic hypersensitivity.
Daniel's case shows transforming that stuck survival energy. He was a stressed entrepreneur, developed this sudden, crippling sensitivity to electronic devices, chronic pain, fatigue near Wi-Fi, phones, etc.
How did he overcome that?
Through intense meditation practice. He described reaching his sixth energy center and experiencing this incredible internal light show, a huge beam of loving light. That inner experience became more real, more powerful than his physical symptoms.
He changed his internal reality first.
Exactly. Eventually, he could meditate for hours, surrounded by electronics with no ill effects. He reports being 100% healed now, simply by mastering his internal state.
And Felicia, the medical doctor, her story must resonate with skeptics.
Absolutely. Felicia was highly analytical, felt constrained by the limitations often taught in medicine. But she committed to the work, especially cultivating elevated emotions. During one meditation, hooked up to brain mapping gear.
What did they see?
An exhilarating explosion of energy, she called it. Her brain scans showed incredibly high amplitude gamma waves, like 190 standard deviations above normal. Her pineal gland was highly active. She felt this connection to absolute truth and freedom.
And physical changes.
Her chronic eczema cleared completely, no medication needed. And her takeaway was powerful. If a once jaded, intensely analytical doctor can do it, absolutely anyone can. It shows this isn't just for certain types of people.
Then Jace manifested a whole new career using mental rehearsal.
Yeah, Jace is a great example of combining clear intention with elevated emotion. He wanted a specific kind of job. Independent, remote, better pay, aligned with his passion for surfing.
So he visualized it.
He consistently mentally rehearsed, already having it, feeling the empowerment, the freedom, the gratitude. He didn't pound the pavement looking for work in the usual way.
And the job found him.
Pretty much. He had a serendipitous meeting with a top surfboard fin designer, which led directly to the exact job he'd been mentally embodying. His consistent internal state attracted the external opportunity.
Incredible. What about Stacy with the hearing loss and tumor?
Stacy's healing highlights the pineal activation and heart connection. She had severe hearing loss, headaches, dizziness from a tumor. During a pineal gland meditation, she experienced this amazing flash of light in her head, then a bluish-white light entering her ear.
And she felt something specific.
Yes, this overwhelming, divine, loving feeling, like the hand of God. Her symptoms cleared instantly. She could hear perfectly, even perceiving sounds beyond normal range. Then she felt this gorgeous fractal energy shoot into her heart, opening her chest. Complete surrender led to profound healing.
And lastly, Jerry, the medical tech who healed himself in the ICU.
Jerry's story is about the sheer power of changing your mindset, even in the most dire circumstances. Life-threatening pancreatitis, lung fluid, doctors preparing his wife for the worst.
But he refused to accept it.
Exactly. As a medical professional, he knew the damage stress hormones could do. So he consciously refused to indulge in fear. He kept affirming, "I'm going to be okay. This too shall pass." He focused his energy entirely on health, on a different potential outcome,
Tuning into health instead of illness.
consistently, raising his energy and changing his belief, and he recovered, completely baffling his medical team. He changed his internal state, and his biology followed. Hashtag tag outro.
So when you put all this together, what's the big takeaway for you listening right now? This whole journey into the supernatural, it's not really about getting something you don't have, is it?
Not at all. It's not about waiting for some miracle from outside. It's about consciously activating the incredible power, the limitless potential that's already wired into you.
It's already there.
Yeah. You genuinely have all the tools, the biology, the chemistry, the innate intelligence needed to heal yourself, to create a new life, to experience things beyond the ordinary. They're just latent, waiting for you to turn them on with your focused intention and those elevated emotions.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. As you go about your day today, just consider what profound experiences, what transformations might be waiting just beneath the surface for you? What could unlock if you consciously decided to connect with that innate, limitless potential inside?
How could you start, even in small ways, to cultivate an internal state, a feeling, a belief that begins to shape your external reality starting right now?
Right.
What future are you going to start embodying today?